Hey everybody, this is Mike from Mike's Dark Helmet Minecraft server, and I wanted to take just a brief few minutes to show you how you can try to get involved with helping out with the website or any of the custom plugins that we're doing. I am a professional web developer. This is something that I do. Programming is something that I do full time. This is my job, and granted, I have a lot more experience than any of you would have, but there are some ways, especially if you're the type of person who's motivated and you want to learn. There are ways for you to help out. One of the most common requests that I have is to make changes to something basic on the website. One of the examples is maybe a piece of help is out of date. So, if I go to the promotions page, maybe some of the information on these ranks is just not correct anymore. So it's pretty simple. All you really need to do is make a change to the text. But the big limitation is that everything that I do is controlled with a tool that is a source control tool. Now I use a program called Git. There's a great online service called GitHub, which is kind of a web-based remote management system for Git. Git is essentially a version control tool. And what that means is when you make a change to something, you need to track that change over time so that if you end up breaking it, you can go back in time. You can see where that change was made, who made it. You can easily undo that change, and you can see things progress over time. And for somebody who does what I do, it is absolutely essential. You have to have something like this in place. Even if you're not working on a team of developers, even if you're just one person, it's unbelievably useful. So I pay for this service. They have free accounts, but I really need something above and beyond, so I pay. So if you're interested in helping out with the DHMC website or a custom plugin or anything that we've got on GitHub, like the craft pricing tool, if you're interested in playing around with that or helping out, this is where you need to go. And I'm just going to show you a few basics on getting set up. So the first thing that you want to do is you're going to want to sign up. There is no charge for what you need. You can just sign up with this free for open source account. You can just hit create. I already have an account, so I won't walk you through that. So I'm going to log in. And let's see. Once you create an account, if you're interested in our plugins, they are already public, so you don't need me to do anything for you. But the source code for our website is private, so you need to, if you're interested in helping out with the website, you need to send me your username, your GitHub username. I will add access for you to the project. Now, getting an idea of how Git works is pretty complicated, especially if you've never actually done any type of programming. But GitHub has actually developed some tools for both Mac and Windows users that really make it easy. Well, easier anyway. So I've got the Mac version, and I haven't played around with the Windows version, but there really aren't that many differences. Mac is better suited for web development in general, so there are some things that you probably have to manually kind of step through when you're installing it on Windows that you don't on Mac. But they've made it very easy from what I hear on both systems. So I'm going to show you this in the Mac version, but it should translate pretty well into the Windows version. If you see any key differences, point them out to me. I'll play around with it. So you can get this by going to, for example, mac.github.com. That's the Mac version. Just download it. There's really no install necessary. If you want the Windows version, just go to windows.github.com. This comes with an installer. It will install some of the necessary tools for you. Should be pretty straightforward. So once you find something on GitHub, and this could be any project, this could apply to anything that's out there, not DHMC. So here I am. I'll pretend I'm a user. I've been given access to this dhmc.us website code, And now I actually need to do something with it. Well, we have a clone button, and this will change based on your operating system. So you'll have a Windows, clone in Mac button. So cloning is essentially taking the source code that is hosted there on GitHub and downloading it to your computer. So I'll click that. Whatever browser you use will probably give you a warning like, do you really want to do this? So the GitHub application comes up and it says, what do you want to clone it as? The default is fine. Where do you want to put it? Documents, that is fine. I'll just hit clone. Now I need to log into GitHub with the account that you would have created. So it's probably logging in. Hello, come on. Usually it doesn't take this long. If any of you, and I doubt, but if any of you are familiar with command line use, GitHub is completely usable on the command line. Git is actually a command line based system to begin with. Personally, I am more comfortable with the command line. I do not use these tools myself. Come on, log in. All right, let's try this again. All right, so whatever. I was logged in. Maybe that's a bug. So it's making a copy of the repository. It's not making a copy of just the source code. It's making a copy of the entire history of the project. That's one of the differences with Git versus other source control systems. And you don't need to remember this, but when you're obtaining a copy of the code, it not only gives you the code, but it gives you the entire repository. Most other systems don't do that. They're hosted in a central location. When you ask for the code, it just gives you the code and that's it. The benefit of this is that if you want to work with it when you don't have internet access, you still have the entire repository right there with you. You can make changes, commit things, you can do whatever you want. Then when you have internet, you could just send it all back to the remote repository. So we're almost done, 99%. All right, so if you remember, it had saved it to my documents. And here we have the folder right here, so dhmc.us, and here is all the files that go along with it. Now the files that come with the source code, again, that depends entirely on the project. This is a website / web application. This is almost entirely custom. I wrote everything in here. There's some open source tools that we use for stuff, but the forums, the ban appeals, all that stuff is entirely custom. So you've got the code. Now you want to go in and you want to make a text change to the promotion page. Well, where is that? Pretty much everything you ever want is going to be in this modules folder for our site. So inside the modules folder, we've got all these sections. Now you'll kind of notice that these sections apply to the different sections on the site. We've got forum, gallery, help, index, mod. So on the site, you can notice that the help / promo, if I go into this help folder, there's a templates folder inside every one of those main folders. So blog has templates, forum has templates, help has templates. So if I click help and I click on templates, I can see all these little pages in here. Now these pages are the actual pages that show up on the site. So help, templates, promo. So this is the template file. And let me close this a little bit. So this is the template file. Now you have to open these in some sort of plain text editor. I'm not really sure on the common ones for Windows, but I know Notepad++ is a good one. I think there's also Ultra Edit, JEdit, If you're on the Mac, I'm not aware of any free ones. I use Sublime Edit, which is like 60 bucks. I use Coda 2, which is 75 bucks or something like that. So if you open this in your editor, you can see this is all the HTML. For the most part, the only thing that you're going to see in the template files is plain HTML. There's no CSS there, there's no JavaScript there, there's no PHP there. That's all kept separate. If you're not familiar with HTML, there are bazillions of great tutorials out there on the internet, so go Google it. But HTML is just a way to kind of structure some stuff, content, images, whatever, structure it so that your web browser knows how to display it. It's pretty much the core language of the web. I'm sure many of you have probably played around with it in some capacity. So whether or not you are, even remotely comfortable with HTML, you could still kind of find your way in here. Here's the text. Here's some stuff. So let's say that one of these commands, one of these things that we give to a player is no longer valid. Let's find something that we can actually edit. I know what we can do. So let's go down to moderators, and we'll add a new list item here. And we could say use fly. One of the things that we did is, because it's important for all of our mods to be able to properly watch people, is I added access to the fly command. So that's it. I type that in, I hit save, I change the content a little bit. I can close that out. I'm done. So I've made a change, and this is where GitHub really comes into play. So I will click on, let's click on the arrow. So it's recognizing that there are uncommitted changes. Now what this means is I've made a change, but I haven't kind of sealed that in. I haven't made it an official change to the project. Now, if you're kind of worried that you might screw something up, this is where GitHub is amazing. You're not going to impact anything. The only thing that you're impacting is your version of the code. So, I'll provide a summary. Added fly permission mention to new mod help. Right. So, you can give an extended description if you want. I typically just keep it simple. And if you have multiple files that you changed, you can choose which ones you're actually going to commit. But I'll just hit commit. Now what that does is it just takes my change and it kind of makes an official entry in the history of the project as to, hey, this user changed this file, this line, this text on this date. That's it. So I've made this change. Now this is still entirely on my local copy, on my computer. The code on GitHub is still completely untouched. The code on the website is still completely untouched. So if I've given you access to a project, you can actually push your changes directly to it. For some other projects, there's another thing called a fork. And I'm not going to walk you through how to do this. It's a little bit more complex, but a fork is essentially you making a copy of the code, something that I have not given you access to. You make a copy of it. You make all your changes to that remote copy. Then when you're ready, you send something called a pull request. And what that is it's simply saying, hey Mike, I've got these changes, I've made these changes, please look at these changes, and if you like them, accept them into the actual code. It sounds a little bit more complex than it really is. It's just a few extra steps in the process that we've already done. I could just click fork here. It would create a copy for me if I were a different user, and I would clone that instead of this project. But we're keeping it simple. We've had a few users who have already done that. Jason BBB711, he's already made several forks of all the plugins. He's contributed a lot of stuff back. So I have this change, this thing that I've done on my local copy. The great thing is, if you've messed up, if you really screwed it up, you can just revert it. You can undo it, clear it out. You can reset. You don't have to worry about screwing stuff up. Even if you're not sure about the change you made, if we hit sync, what this is going to do is this is going to push the change that you made on your computer back to GitHub. So it's going to actually send that change upward. So you can see it in the change log. There's my message. That's what I had typed in. Added fly permission to mention new mod help. Now on GitHub, as the owner of the project, I could go in here and I could see what you did. I can see those changes. I can make a decision. Is this change good? Should we actually make this in the site? Or is this something that we need to fix before we actually push it live? So I'll see that and I'll be like, hey, that's a small change, not a big deal. Everything's good. As the owner, I'll accept it and then I'll make a deploy. I guess I might as well just show you how I do that. This has nothing to do with what you do. Whoops. So I've got my own copy of the stuff here. So if I pull down a copy of those changes, this is pulling everything that's been submitted to my local copy, just so that I have everything up to date. So you can see that it's showing me this file was changed, modules, templates, app, promo. There was one line added. That was the line that we did. So I'm going to hit a command here. It's going to actually work on deploying the code. This is what actually takes it from the remote repository and pushes it live to our server. When this is done, there's a bunch of stuff that's kind of automated in here, and this is, again, the thing you have to worry about. But when I approve your code and I take it, this is what I do. I hit this code, it deploys, it says OK, command finished. Now if I reload this page, skip down to new moderator, there's our change. So that's it. I mean, Git is a very complex system, but if all you're doing is making minor content changes, and if you're able to use the Mac or Windows version of the GitHub application, it's pretty straightforward. There's nothing serious. You'll have to learn some HTML and you may have problems installing it or something, but for the most part, everything should be straightforward. And you can always ask me on IRC. So thanks for watching.